foods are easy to digest. This video is for you if you'd like to understand more about how foods digest in your body and which foods are the easiest to digest, or if you're dealing with digestive issues like SIBO, bloating, constipation, malabsorption, and now you want to know what to eat exactly and what you need to avoid in order for you to improve your symptoms. I still remember the time when I was studying medicine in university and I was literally bloated like every day of those 4 years that I was studying. And one day, I still remember, my prof, we were in university and my prof was talking about how different foods are digested. Where do you think your digestion starts in your body? What do you think? It starts here. It starts in your mouth. As soon as you put the food in your mouth. This is how it goes with the digestive hierarchy. That's what I learned in university, guys. In your mouth, carbohydrate digestion starts here. Just carbohydrates. Then you go through the esophagus. Things go to the stomach. What starts here? The carbohydrate digestion continues and the protein digestion starts. The HCl and the enzymes that are secreted by the stomach start to dissolve and break down protein. And then from the stomach, we come into the small intestine. And in the small intestine, the fat digestion starts. The liver secretes bile through a ductus into the small intestine. And this is how it goes. So imagine if you would ask yourself, which are the foods that are easiest to digest? It's probably the foods that start the earliest to be digested, right? Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, then comes protein, and then comes fat. Now, before we come to the most easy digestible foods, let's talk about the opposites. What are the hardest to digest foods or food groups? Now, the worst thing that you can do if you have a weak digestive system or you have any digestive upset or you want to improve your energy and help your overall body heal, then the worst thing you can do is to combine sugar with fat or protein, because the sugar will actually not be able to get into the cell. Pancreas will work and produce insulin. Your blood sugar level will spike and stay high for a long time, but it's not the sugar fault. It's the fault of the fat or the protein, which actually inhibits the glucose to get into the cell because there's too much fat in the bloodstream. So things to avoid is to eat all those food groups together. Sugar, fat, and protein. Bad idea. Number 2, highly processed foods. Anything that your body doesn't recognize as a food. GMO, artificial anything, flavors, sweeteners, anything like that, highly processed foods are inflaming the body. The body doesn't recognize this as a food anymore, it's just a chemical. Also on that list, very hard to digest, are any types of roasted foods. People don't recognize that. They eat vegan and I think they're eating healthy, but anything roasted for the body means burned. Burned means inflammatory response. We're talking especially about coffee. It has so much more problems than just being roasted and irritating the gut lining. Very acidifying and it stimulates your adrenal glands. Last on that list are fried foods. Any types of fried food. I love French fries too, but your liver has a very, very hard time to break down those alternated fats. It's very hard on your digestive system and they're gonna just linger there in your gut forever. Now let's talk about the foods that are easy to digest, because that's what this video is about, right? It's so easy, guys. Fruits and vegetables. Long story short, that's it. Those guys here, leafy greens, fruits. Look at those baby bananas, aren't they cute? And why? Because they come with their own digestive enzymes. Each of these super cute banana have like a backpack of digestive enzymes. And as soon as you crush the cells with your mouth, with your teeth, or later on in the digestive system, those enzymes get released and basically help to digest themselves. Eat those guys raw in order for harvesting the benefits. They are also alive. Those foods, papaya, my favorite, they are alive and they contain a nutrient bomb. They're bursting with minerals, bursting with vitamins, which also help your digestive process a lot. Yeah, Peggy, that's all great. I heard that before, but I tried eating fruits and vegetables and I feel all kinds of symptoms. Bloated, malabsorption, pain, can't digest fruits and vegetables. Let's talk about it right now. Quick tip before we get there. If you would like to take care of your digestive system and you want to overcome things like bloating, constipation, gas, acid reflux, candida, SIBO, then I've got something for you. And this stuff is not just a meal plan or things like that. It's a complete 1 week gut healing guide where you get all the guidance you need to get started in improving your digestive system. I link that down below, so make sure you check that out. What could trip you up if you want to eat more fruits and vegetables, or you tried it in the past and it didn't work out? For example, one of the most popular things against fruits and vegetables I hear from my clients is, I get bloated, I can't, I look like 9 months pregnant if I do that. The most important thing to understand is that radical changes in your diet will never be successful. So if you come from a keto diet and then suddenly, or you're eating a lot of fat and protein and suddenly you incorporate more fruits, this is going to be a disaster. Because the fat and the protein is just lingering there in your gut, it's not going to be broken down, and then you add some sugar, and then what happens? Bloating. So when you change to a diet that is more lower in fat, lower in protein, and has more nutrients, more nutrient density, more fruits and vegetables, you're going to make sure that you make that change gradually. Because the bacteria that breaks down animal protein, for example, is a completely different bacteria than that breaks down fruits. Try in the beginning eating less fruit. And if you eat fruit, combine fruit with some greens. Can be spinach, can be lettuce, can be barley grass juice powder. Just take it one step at a time. Fruits digest very quickly and they can ferment if there's still food lingering in your digestive tract, which often happens with malabsorption and indigestion. Also, if you're feeling experimental and you want to go all in, what you can try is do mono meals. Mono meals meaning just eating one type of fruit per meal. For example, just bananas or just potatoes. That will make it even more easy for your digestive system. Also, in the beginning, you might need to do smaller meals instead of 3 big ones. You might snack a little bit more. That is completely fine when you are starting to improve your digestive system and getting rid of this bloating issue, which I had as well for a lot of years. If I eat fruits and vegetables, I feel bad. I just feel nausea, I feel pain, I can feel the food moving through me, and that the greens and stuff like that, I can't digest fruits and vegetables. That's something that might trip you up, and I saw it in the past, trips up clients to making this healing breakthrough and actually getting better with their digestive system. Why do you feel that when you eat an egg, you don't have any symptoms, and when you eat, for example, a soup or some vegetables or things like that, you just feel the food is moving through you and you don't feel well? The reason for that is not that you can't digest those fruits and vegetables that you're eating. The reason for that is that you have an inflamed nervous system in your gut. So in your gut lining has a lot of nerve endings, billions of nerve endings. And if those are inflamed, they're kind of irritated. Just like when we are irritated when somebody's just nagging on us, right? This is a big one that trips up people so much from healing, because they believe all these things about oxalates and lectins and it's bad for me. It's a temporary thing, and it's not a sign that you can't digest those foods. Inflammation comes from pathogens, toxic heavy metals, from rottening food in your gut that produces ammonia, which is a gas which is highly toxic and creates those leaky gut symptoms. If that sounds familiar and that is the case for you, what you can do. First of all, you got to be gentle with yourself. So knowing what's actually happening in your body, and that it's not that you can't digest those foods, it's just nerve endings which are irritated and which you feel that they're irritated all the time. But if you have an egg moving through, it just sits there and it feeds pathogens. So important thing, what I always recommend is that you bring in B12. Special form of B12 which has adenosyl and methylcobalamin in liquid form without any additives, highly absorbable, which will help your nervous system a lot to relax. And it also will improve the absorption rate from any other nutrients that you're taking in. Second thing, super important, you gotta avoid any foods that create more inflammation and that feed pathogens like strep, like Epstein-Barr, like shingles, any of those viruses in your body, because that's a big one. Dairy, eggs are one of the biggest pathogen feeders. I know they're convenient, but they're not a healthy food and they do not make you better long term. Corn, soy, and gluten. Repeat, dairy, eggs, corn, soy, and gluten. If you're thinking now, yeah, what could I eat? Remember, there's the 1 week gut healing challenge, which I recommend. And you can, for example, just start out with blending things up, which already will make it easier. Mono meals, just bananas. Fruit needs to be ripe. If you eat fruit, it needs to be ripe. On an empty stomach is best. If you wanted something filling that is easy to digest, go for potatoes. Potatoes are your friends. Those are not empty carbs. They are super nutrient dense, which every gardener will tell you, because they actually deplete the soil of all those nutrients and need to be moved every year.